Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
And welcome to another edition of Over the Top.
Over the Top, this is Marcia.
And I'm Lois.
And we're glad to be back with you. We missed last week and we missed you, and we're so happy to be back.
Yes, we are.
We've got some interesting topics that we want to talk about today. So, Lois, do you want to start? Or?
Yeah, let's talk about, did you see the Atlanta Housewives last night?
Oh, you know I did.
Yeah, well, what'd you think?
I felt really bad for Nene when she went to visit her father. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I felt bad for her because I felt that he didn't embrace her the way she really wanted and needed to be embraced.
I would agree.
All that time.
In fact, to me, he was looking at her like she was just some woman. Yeah, you look good. And I thought, this is her father. You look just like your mother.
Right.
But I understand that was her father's good friend.
Or
the person she thought was her father's best friend. So that's very interesting. And it seemed very hurtful for her.
Right. But then, on the other hand, you look at it that this is a very private moment that is happening, and some people don't want to reveal things on TV.
And he certainly didn't seem like that type.
Yeah, he didn't.
And quickly, let's talk about Candy and her mother and her AJ.
Right. I thought that was very noble of AJ to even suggest going to counseling.
Because a lot of people would tell Candy's mother to
go to
drop dead.
Right.
So do you think it's important that a parent needs to like the person that you're involved with in order for the relationship to work?
I do. Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on how much of a dependence you have on what your parents think. Okay. And I think that their relationship is not going to work without her mother approval, because she, as she said, her mother is everything to her. And I can even feel a little bit that she's pulling back.
Oh yeah, because she said, if my mother doesn't like this guy, I don't think it'll work. And well, now we know it didn't work.
Exactly.
Because he came to an unfortunate and untimely demise.
Yes.
So.
Also, what'd you think of Sheree and her fashions? I thought they were beautiful.
Oh, I thought they were beautiful too, and I think Dwight's quite a bit of a hater.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's really hating, and that he wants to be in on every level of it, and he can't. And I think her friend is correct in that. Why would you even ask him to do this show? You've never seen any of his work. So I'm praying that her show is successful next week, but I'm not feeling as confident.
I'm not either initially. Let's go on to Balloon Boy. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
did you see that on television where they thought the little boy supposedly was floating across the town or across the city?
Colorado.
Okay. What did you think of that?
Well, I was in the car, so I heard it on CNN, on the satellite radio, so I couldn't really see what was going on, but I could only hear it. And it was just really surprising because they kept saying he was in there. And, and I'm thinking, what is this thing? So finally when I got home and was able to see what this contraption was.
And it was a contraption.
Yes, that, what are they doing with this family? And, then more things revealed that they've been on Wife Swap twice.
Oh, yeah.
These little boys were taping this as it went on. That it really is something very strange about this whole story.
And I understand too that the children, they have footage of the children like using profanity, and supposedly the father was screaming at the children. I hate to say this, but it almost seems like one of those situations where the nanny has to come in or needs to come in, but in this case maybe the police.
Well, that was one of the things on Wife Swap, that they said that they were too permissive as parents.
Okay.
But everybody raises their children differently, but my thing is, are they putting those children in jeopardy? I mean, to even have this contraption on the top of the house, you have 3 little boys, and boys are very inquisitive. Like, it's almost like having a gun in the house. You'd have to have it on lockdown because children are going to play with it. Studies have shown. So.
Well, I think that part of the problem is that the parents want attention, and not so much the mother as the father.
Yeah.
What I noticed is that the mother was very passive, and the father is very outgoing and very dramatic. This morning I saw him on TV crying. You know what? I could see him crying yesterday if he really thought his child was in that balloon. But today, I think he's taking it a little too far, and his co-workers say that he is just a publicity hound.
Yeah.
And I think this was just an opportunity for him to get in front of the camera with this no good invention. So
right.
Yeah.
And what I think really needs to happen though now is that they need to pay for some of that resources that were used.
Absolutely, the policemen and
the Black Hawk helicopters from the military.
Now, hello.
I mean, because this is an airborne object that
flying almost to the airport.
Well, it's 5,000 feet. So
Yeah.
It could have been very dangerous, and I'm very happy that the little boy is fine.
Me too, but enough about them. Let's move on to another subject. Let's talk about President Obama and his visit to New Orleans, and the little boy who was on TV who was just absolutely adorable. And he had a question for the president, and he said, why does everybody hate you? They should hate you. God is love. They should love you. And then he held the little boy and he said, well, everybody doesn't hate me because some people voted for me. A lot of people voted for me.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was very interesting that the little boy had that reaction.
Right. And that was really touching. And it kind of shows that, you know, even children are very sensitive to the things that are happening in the world. You know, we think that they don't pay attention to all the little things, but it's very, very important.
And my concern is that for the black children, President Obama is such a role model, and for them to think, my gosh, everybody hates him, that is not a good feeling. This should be someone that they honor and revere and they're very proud of, but that whole thing of somebody hating you, they hate you, and how sad, because I think people have really shown, you know, their racial biases since President Obama has been in office, and it's very disheartening.
But then, is it big enough, or is it just that these are the loudmouth people?
I think that's it.
You know, because when you get into, even with Rush Limbaugh now, who now has put in a bid, well, it's been withdrawn for an NFL team.
Right.
And he's saying that he was dropped from this bid because he claims that liberals don't want mainstream conservatives.
And not only that, but they hate him. That's what he said. That's what he said on Fox News. He's like, this is a great reflection of how much hate there is in this society. And I'm thinking, who spews any more hate than you?
Right. And see, is he really mainstream? Do you believe that that's mainstream? And I don't. I do not think that he's mainstream. I think that he's a loudmouth. Just like, and he has the.
But he's become mainstream because he gets so much attention. And when the White House actually has a campaign against Fox News, and he's the primary reason why, he is, you know, he says he doesn't like mainstream media, but he is a form of mainstream media.
Well, see, I don't think he's mainstream, though. I think he's more of an outlier who wants to say that he's mainstream, and he wants to pretend that he's mainstream. And that
well, wouldn't that make all of Fox News not mainstream? And Fox News has huge followers.
Well, and I think they have followers, but that doesn't mean that everybody who's watching them even believes everything that they're saying.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's mainstream media because it gets so much attention and has such a huge audience. I'm not saying that the majority of the people agree with them necessarily.
But he's saying that he's a mainstream conservative, and I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that he is not a mainstream conservative. I think he's an outrageous conservative.
He's definitely
glad that the bid was withdrawn.
Well, speaking of outrageous, I think it's time for us to wrap our show up. So I just want to thank all of our viewers and tell you how happy we are to be back with you and spend some time with you and have this broadcast. And we just want to tell you, stay over the top. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. And from Marcy
and Lois,
bye-bye.